What's happening, everybody? It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Today is Tuesday. Hope you had a great weekend. It's May 20th, and in this video, we're going to take a look at flaming hot Village Farm. Stock is absolutely ripping again today. We're going to take a look at another bull flag that confirmed, and we have a target of $1.44. So we'll take a look at the VFF chart, what to expect in terms of the technicals and the price action in the days, weeks, months ahead. I'll give my thoughts and opinions, but as always, not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only, and you should never buy or sell anything based on anything that I say or write. Full disclosure, I do own Village Farm stock as well. You can smash the like, subscribe if you're new, all that good stuff. Tick the bell, you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. And you can follow us over on X as well. Handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. I posted about it a little earlier today. I gave that target of 144, but we'll do a little bit of a deeper dive here. Obviously, the market and the sector really responding well to the fact that they're privatizing their veggie business, and Vanguard Food was a joint venture that was created to take it private, and essentially they were dwindling on cash, right? I think they had about 15 million in cash on the books at the end of the last quarter, and they were able to get a $40 million injection of cash. So that is great to see, because they were hurting in that respect. And I mentioned many times that I wasn't 100% sold on VFF's business model. So I didn't really like the fact that they had, they're focusing on MJ and then veggies at the same time. And now that they're completely focusing on MJ, really, I thought that was a very wise move. So I'm starting to really like the stock a lot more, and I'm going to be looking to add to my position. But obviously, it's been on a complete tear. So I'm just being very patient, waiting for a pullback. At this point, we just hit weekly overbought, so I'm certainly not going to be adding at this point. And I'll keep everybody posted if I do look to add it. But it was one of my smaller positions. I definitely want to get a little bit more exposure. There's going to be pullbacks along the way, though, so don't worry if you're getting FOMO. If you're wondering if there's going to be another pullback, there is always another pullback. So if we take a look at the weekly time frame here, you can see this is how quickly things can change, right? We were basically flirting with reverse split territory. They were given an extension, and I think they have until October, I think it was, to regain compliance, and here we are well above $1 again. So it just needs to maintain above $1 for 10 consecutive days, and then it'll regain compliance with the NASDAQ, which it's looking like that could very well be the case here over the next couple of weeks. But if we take a look at the weekly time frame, look at how quickly things can change. The stock is up 170% since 6 weeks ago. And it went from weekly oversold to weekly overbought in just a matter of 6 weeks or 42 days. So this is how quickly things can change. And if you look at RSI, again, if you know nothing about stocks or technical analysis, and if you just put in the relative strength index, this RSI indicator, and only buy when we're in this region, and only sell and generally do not buy stocks at this, or assets in this overbought territory, you would do better than 90+% of people out there. But the fact is people don't like buying things when it's not doing well, right? When the price is dropping, people think that there's issues, right? And that can very well be the case. But just because a stock is seeing a huge decline in price doesn't mean that there's no value here. And case in point, just goes to show you how quickly things can change. They get rid of their produce side of their business, and bam, stock is absolutely ripping. So on the weekly time frame, I mentioned this in my previous video, that we had our low, our high of the bounce, our higher low. We could see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross on the weekly time frame, which was the first time since March of 2024. And we confirmed the weekly bull flag and the weekly uptrend, and our measured move there was 107. We've since hit that target. Now we'll zoom into the daily time frame, and you can see on the daily we confirmed a daily bull flag as well. So we have our low, high of the bounce, higher low, and higher high, and that confirmed. So the fact that we confirmed the weekly uptrend also added more confluence, more confidence that we were going to see that play out, right? The more patterns, signals, indicators all saying the same thing, the more confident we are that that's going to play out. And then you just take your measured move there from the low to the high, move it out to your 0.32 fib, and that has a target of $1.44. The high of the day today is 124. So in terms of percentages, or in terms of price, we came within 20 cents, and in terms of percentage, about 16% away. So this was an example, and I mentioned this on X as well, and in the Pow Group private community. I went into a little bit more detail in the Pow Group private community, and this is something I've been sharing as well with members, and I'm currently in the process of developing an advanced course, and this is going to be something that I'm really honing in on. And I love this kind of setup where you have a big bull move, right? And when the stock's up, say 65%, and then let's say after this pullback here of about 12%, you didn't get there, you didn't get to add on that one, and then we saw another move here of around 63%, and then you missed the first one, and you're wondering, I'm getting a little bit of FOMO, but I don't want to buy it here, at $1. We could potentially find resistance. $1 psychological. We know that's a key level to get above as well for the delisting and the NASDAQ minimum bid price rule. So $1 was more than likely going to act as strong resistance. Sure enough, it did. We hit 105, came down to 86 cents there at the low. Now, the reason why I like this setup is because, and I'll just get rid of this previous fib tool here because you can see it a lot better. So as you can see, you just take your fib, you go from the low to the high of that bounce, and anything over the 0.32 fib was a potential bull flag, just like on the weekly time frame. So while you don't really want to enter when the price is, seeing this parabolic kind of move and escape velocity at a very rapid pace, you don't want to be, just getting FOMO and buying for the sake of buying because you're getting FOMO. You want to have a clear level to go off of, right? So when you see these big moves, we had a lack of support all the way down to 67 cents, which was actually like a quadruple bottom there, quintuple bottom, actually, you could say. But after that move, we had that daily consolidation, and we had a clear level there. And I've said this many times that on that daily consolidation, typically what they do is they like to go stop loss hunting, and they like to create kind of fake outs and bear traps. So in this instance, it was a fake out, it was a bear trap. What you could have done is you could have entered this on a pullback to 89 cents, right? Because if we hold that 0.32 fib, then we're looking for a daily bull flag continuation. So in this instance, you could have entered here at the 0.32 fib at 89 cents. And what I recommend doing is setting a stop below that 0.5 fib level because, like I said, they tend to go stop loss hunting and try to fake people out. So if you entered there at 89 cents, you could have set your stop just under 84, and essentially you would have risked about 5-6%. And if you were right, and we hit that target, that's about a 60% of upside. So essentially you risk 5 or 6% to make 60%. That is great trade, great trade setup and a great risk to reward. So if we take a look again at that daily consolidation, it pulled back roughly 17%. But again, we had no support all the way down to 67 cents. So it's very difficult sometimes to kind of gauge where you should enter. And that's why I like using these fib tools, is because you have a clear level. You want to hold that 0.32 fib. If not, then we're probably going to see that negated, and we're probably going to be heading back down to that 0.618, the golden pocket there around 79 cents, somewhere around 79 to 73 cents. And like I said, setting your stop below that 0.5% retracement. Here's another example of how that played out pretty much to perfection. Even if you just entered at 89 cents to the move that we saw already, that's a 37% of upside. So even if you'd locked it in now, that'd still be a fantastic trade and great risk to reward. But as you can see, absolutely parabolic here on the weekly time frame. Again, this is how quickly things can change. Look at that MACD and stochastic, absolute rocket ship. Well above the 10-week moving average, and here we are, we're well on our way to the 200 weekly there at 234. So things are getting pretty wacky at the moment, and that's what happens when you're this beaten down and how quickly things can change. And we still haven't even seen the golden cross yet with the 50 and the 200-day moving average crossing, which is still quite a ways away before we see that. It could be another few weeks before we see that, so I would more than likely anticipate a pretty big pullback at some point soon. If you're wondering when would be a good idea to enter VFF, obviously, I'm not telling you to buy, sell, or hold, but hourly oversold should be a nice move since we haven't really been hourly oversold since back here at around 60, around that 64 cent area. So hourly oversold should be a nice entry here. And on the daily time frame, we're daily overbought, so we definitely need to cool off the jets here a little bit. Weekly overbought, so I would be looking at hourly oversold as a nice opportunity. But overall, love to see it. VFF leading the way today, no surprise. Is pulling back a little bit now, but Cureleaf, CGC, ACB, OGI, SNDL. We've got MJ and Tilray. But yeah, we're seeing some bid support. We're starting to see MJ catch a bid here. And in my opinion, it's just because we're starting to see market expansion, market breadth widening, risk on appetite returning to the market. And I do think that MJ should continue to benefit over the next couple of months. But overall, love to see these bounces because we were not set up well at all. If the S&P 500 were to see any meaningful pullback, MJ was not set up very well at all. Still, some MJ isn't set up well. Like CGC was just under $1, but look at how quickly that one's back up to $1.75. It was just at 77 cents, and here we are, $1.78. So it gained $1 in just a matter of 28 days. So a month, this thing's up off of the lows there, 130%. And in my opinion, you're just going to see leaders and laggards. This is going to, we'll see CGC, VFF take a breather soon, and then that money will rotate into other tier ones, in my opinion, like your Tilrays, your SNDLs. The only thing with SNDL is there's a lot of uncertainty with regards to they said they're going to be doing a review of their listings. So there's a possibility that they may delist from the NASDAQ and then fast track their entry into the US. So while there's pros and cons with that, a lot of people are just unsure of how that's going to play out, and the market doesn't like uncertainty. So we'll see what happens there, but I am expecting, some names to just, tap in, tap out. You're going to see some names start to run, and then they'll take a breather, and then that money will more than likely rotate into some other names in the sector. All right, going in it there, it's Rod with Pow Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth, and we'll check in again soon. Have a great day, and we'll catch you on the next one.